Hi, I'm Matt Kirwin. Welcome to Creative Visions of Today. Today we have the opportunity to speak with Tim Cook, an illustrator. He's been illustrating for a number of years now. And Tim, I'd like to get some insight into what brought you into illustrating.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. What brought me into illustrating? Well, I always liked to draw when I was as small as I can remember. I drew all the time. I just loved it. And kind of the earliest memory of wanting to become an illustrator, I was in preschool, and we had an assignment to draw a pirate. So everybody in the class was drawing a pirate, and all these little kids drawing pirates. And I'm drawing my pirate, and I'm really into it. I get really focused when I draw, and that's one thing I like about it. It's kind of like meditation. So I was, really into drawing this thing, and I look up, and like everybody in the class is around my picture. I'm like, wow, that's really good. I had no idea that I was talented. I think I was talented because I'd been drawing so much. I just drew all the time, and so I thought that was pretty cool that I could make something that people appreciated, and that's basically what I do today. I draw for clients, and I get a lot of satisfaction when people appreciate it, just like back then. And I still love to draw. I feel like a kid at heart. With my job, I feel lucky to have a job where I can be creative and work at home, and that's what got me into it.
That's great. So, going through grade school and into high school, did you have anyone in particular that really, put you on the path to becoming an illustrator?
Well, I feel like I had a lot of really supportive art teachers, really knowledgeable and nurturing art teachers who encouraged me to look at artists like Gauguin and Romare Bearden and different artists that I took a lot of inspiration from, and they also encouraged me to go to the local art galleries. There was also a art museum that, in our town where I grew up in Southwest Virginia that I went to and got inspiration from that.
So at what point would you say that you decided that this is a field I really want to pursue?
Well, I always knew I wanted to do something in art. As far as what I do now, specifically illustration, I made that decision in college. Mm-hmm. I started on an art foundation class, which is a lot of different types of media and different types of career paths, and I decided about my third or second year that in college that illustration was a good way to express your creativity and make a little money on the side. So it was a win-win.
Great. So you had this kind of inspiration when you were younger, and it stayed with you. Have you ever seen, are there any drawbacks to it, to having this kind of career?
This kind of career? Well, I guess you can get a little lonely. I mean, like for me, I work at home, but if you don't like, I have to say, if you don't like working at home, if you don't like working by yourself, it could be a little lonely. I like to be working at home. I mean, I have my dogs and cats, so I never feel lonely. But I just love being at home. It's like I say, it's like meditation, doing the artwork, and I get a lot out of it. So
what do you do if you ever experience a block in creativity?
What do I do? Sometimes all you can do. I mean, sometimes things come, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes you just have to get away from it. Like I'll go for a walk, or I'll shoot some hoops outside or something. I like to play basketball. Might go for a run, or I'll just take the day off and sleep on it. And sometimes that's what I need, for my subconscious to give me some ideas. It depends.
Thanks, Tim. So we have to take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue talking with Tim about his art and his career as an illustrator.
ways of wrapping production cables. Most of them are wrong.
To protect the cable and keep it from tangling, the accepted method in the video industry is the RCA Wrap, commonly known as over-under. This is how you do it. Grab the cable for the length where you want to make your first loop. Bring your hands together. Now gently twist so that the cable forms a natural loop. This is over. After your first loop, reach down, palm of your hand away from your body, grab the next bit of cable, and bring your hands together, looping the cable under. Now reach down again and loop the cable over. Continue to alternate between over and under until your cable is fully coiled. If your cable is wrapped properly, you can uncoil the cable quickly with no loops, kinks, or tangles. It takes practice to master the over-under method, but when you do, you will make your facilities manager very happy.
If you want to learn more about this or other video production techniques, sign up for classes at Montgomery Community Media.
Welcome back, everyone. Before the break, we were talking with Tim about his career as an illustrator. Now that I know your favorite part about being an artist, I want to know, what influences you the most when you do an illustration?
What influences me the most?
Yeah.
Well, I guess what influenced me the most? Looking at other artists. I have a lot of different influences. I had mentioned early on, but also Paul Klee, Ben Nicholson, a lot of other artists. I look at to influence me. I look at I really like mid-50s mid-century 20th century artwork. The graphic styles of that, things like that.
How would you characterize your artwork?
Oh, that's a good question. I never know how to answer that question. Definitely conceptual. It's very graphic, very kind of flat colors, two-dimensional. You had told me it's sophisticated. Thank you for that. I like that. And it's kind of abstract, I guess. But I think what people hire me both, for that kind of simple. There's this kind of simple, abstract, almost look, but also, mostly I think the concepts. I enjoy coming up with concepts, and it's a real challenge to do some really abstract concepts.
Right, and that leads me to my next question. In terms of when a client comes to you and they want you to make an illustration, what kind of information do they give you?
Well, they give me a rough draft usually. Could be an article for a newspaper, or it could be an article for a magazine. I work with a lot of corporations. I do some advertising, but usually there's some kind of text, to accompany the drawing, and I get a rough draft. I read that over. That might change while I'm coming up with ideas, and sometimes I have to change my ideas accordingly. But usually it's pretty rough. But it's enough to go on, enough to give me an idea, of what the drawing should say to the viewer.
So, if you're what's your opinion? If you're a kid and you're a kid who's in that class drawing a picture of the pirate, right? And you're really interested in art, what kind of advice would you give to an upcoming artist?
I would say keep drawing. You know, I mean, I think like a lot of artistic ventures, you know, practice a lot. You know, and if you love drawing, you know, you should go for it. There's a lot of competition, and you know, if you enjoy making art, you know, it's going to be easier because you do have to put a lot of practice, you know, into becoming good enough. You know, right now there's just so many illustrators, and the competition is so great. You know, if you enjoy what you do, if you have a joy for making art, then I think you know, you have a leg up. You know.
So how much does that actual academic training, or what you learn in a university or college setting, mean, you know, for your field? Do you think it's something absolutely imperative that you do?
I don't think so. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. For me, I felt like I learned a lot. I mean, I think there's some opportunities to learn about some movements in art. I mean, you take art history classes, mm-hmm. and you learn from professionals, you know, in the field. And you know, I think a college career is always good for almost any field, but I don't think you have to. I mean, if you have a great talent, you know, and a knack for business, I think you know, you can do this. You know.
Okay. So, where do you see yourself in, you know, 10 years in terms of being an illustrator?
I think doing what I'm doing, you know,
yeah.
right now. Actually, maybe doing some more personal projects than what I do. I do some, but not nearly as many as I like. So maybe the flexibility of and the security of doing some personal projects. You
right.
know? Not necessarily something I'm going to sell or make money on, but something that is personal.
Beer labels.
Beer labels.
Yeah. you could do that.
That's it. I do some beer labels. You know, as you know, I make beer.
You're right.
And I enjoy making the labels for my own beer. So that is a personal project.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely with the explosion of microbreweries.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some opportunity there.
Right.
Again, the competition is really fierce, but
yeah,
who knows?
Well, excellent. You know, thanks for having this conversation today.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great insight into, you know, what it's like to be an illustrator, and what it requires, and how you know, how you got your inspiration. I'd never heard the story about the pirate drawing. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
so thanks a lot, Tim.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
All
Take
right.
care.
Yeah. Cheers.